Hello again, this is Carol King, the developer of Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS software. In this video, I'm going to talk about something that could happen that could not be a good thing, and what CHS does to help protect you from that happening. So what I'm going to talk about is what happens if you put some checks in your printer, you go ahead and print them out, but you go to lunch and you forget to come back and actually post those checks as paid in CHS. This means somebody could have grabbed those checks, you could have mailed them out, hopefully not, so you could still look at them, but CHS won't know that you have printed them because you never answered the question about, yes, post the checks as printed. CHS does halt after you print your checks and wants you to select that yes, because just in case your check's snagged, you don't want CHS automatically running off and posting those checks. You want to run them again or whatever it is. So you need to tell CHS once those checks are handed off to your PDF reader for you to print, there's no way CHS can know whether you printed them successfully or not. So you need to post that yes. So we have a way to catch that, to see if you've done that, and to stop you from printing any more checks, and to make sure that you get those checks posted. And I'm going to demonstrate that in this video. So I'm going to go to unpaid payables that we've been talking about in various videos and selecting checks to pay, bills to pay, I mean. And if I open the unpaid payables window, you'll see that there's various ones that are check marked to pay, and that is covered in previous videos about selecting checks to pay and printing checks, etc. So I just wanted you to see that there are various ones that are check marked to pay. I'm going to close this, and you can see a report of all bills selected to pay right now in a to pay status, which you could look at before you print checks, etc. But I'm going to close that. You can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 checks that would be printed here for different printers, for different vendors right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to print or post the checks, and I'm not going to narrow them down to anything. I'm going to just continue to print checks. And let me see what my previous check number was, just to stay consistent, 4567. So I'll do 4568. Whatever your next checkup is to be printed, you would be looking at that and putting that in here. And I'm going to click Print Checks. Actually, if you've already gotten to this point, and you get to this point right here, CHS, what it has done behind the scenes is those various records that are supposed to be included on the checks, it has now tick marked them that they are about to be part of a check printing run. So notice how this window does not let you close it any other way than to select yes, the checks ran okay, or no, do not post the checks as paid. That's on purpose to try to force that you use one or the other of these buttons. If you click no, do not post the checks as paid, CHS will remove all those little tick marks on those records that indicate that they are in the process of being printed. Also, when you mark yes, the checks ran okay, it's going to get rid of the tick marks on those records, and of course post the various checks that you printed. So if you somehow walk away, go to lunch, open up these checks, print them, and then leave that open, or walk away while this is open, this and that, CHS is going to detect and say some reason this times out and it closes, or what I'm going to do is you just close. Let's play like I did click that and I printed the checks. I won't bother you with showing you all that. But I'm going to just close the browser down for whatever reason. I just suddenly close it down. That's the same thing in a way that happens if you walk away and it expires on you. So here I am back, and I think maybe I'm going to go select some other bills to pay or print some other checks, and I'm not aware that I forgot to post that. But if I go to unpaid payables and I try to click this button, I'm going to get a message. I'll read that message in just a second. I'll close this for a second. If I try to print or post checks, I'll get the same message, and it says either someone is in the middle of printing checks. So this can also happen not only if you shut down your browser, but somebody else has started a check printing run You don't want to do one while they're doing one, because you might get each other's 2 paychecks in your run while they're getting it also in their run. So you need to have one person printing checks at a time. So either someone is in the middle of printing checks, or someone did not complete a check printing process, which is what I did, by selecting yes or no to post the checks. This means that a new batch of checks cannot be printed until that process is completed. When this message is closed, a window is going to open to view any payables invoices that are marked as being in a check printing process but have not been posted as paid yet. There will be instructions on that window. And this is the window that will open. And please read everything here, and if you click the help button, this video will be there to demonstrate. But it is telling you if there are records that are shown below, checks for vendor invoices shown might be printed but have not been posted. These could also be shown here if somebody's in the middle of a check printing process. It's just showing all the bills that have been selected to pay and that have that tick mark on it. So you're getting some instructions about if nobody is printing checks, if you're sure about that and you need to clear these out because you did forget to mark them as posted as paid, it's telling you you should use this button to clear records shown from check processing. Now it's also telling you you might be getting a message because accidentally, who knows what might happen in computer world, there's some record that for some reason still has that tick mark on it, but it is posted as paid. That shouldn't hardly ever happen. I actually don't know of it happening, but I just put it here just in case. So I give you a button that if no records are found here as being in process, you can click to fix that issue about why you're getting that message, and it should go away. We won't pay too much attention to that, but just be sure, just know that that's here. If there's no records found and you keep getting a message about checks being in process, you can fix it by just clicking this button, and boom, it'll just get rid of those tick marks that are back there. So basically, what I want to do is clear records shown from check processing so that it'll get rid of the tick marks so I can process them as paid again. It's saying the very same things if you are sure nobody's there, but it does say, no, you should use the button labeled Report of Records before clicking Continue. So I'm going to cancel this for a second, do a report of the records, and I'm going to export those to PDF. Open with my Adobe Acrobat Reader. And you'll see over in my taskbar, maybe you won't see it, but I have it open, so I'm just going to minimize it so that I have it to check later, because these are ones I know I did print checks for already. And I want to just keep that report so when I go to repost them, I can see that report. So I'm going to click this again. It's telling me clicking the Continue button will leave the records in an unpaid status, because they still are, because you didn't post them as paid, but they will still be check marked to pay. So if the checks were printed for the records shown, they still need to be posted as paid. You should go through the process of printing checks for those records, display the PDF of the checks to make sure they are the ones that were already printed, close the PDF without printing, and then click the yes to post them as paid on that screen. If someone is currently processing or printing checks for the records shown, or printing checks at all, and you're not sure, be sure to click the cancel button. But I'm going to go ahead and click the Continue button. Then I get a message that the records have been cleared from check processing, and the list will refresh and should be empty. Again, the records are still in unpaid payables and are still selected to pay. And again, it talks about how to go ahead and get those posted as paid. So I'll click OK, and you can see that the records are no longer in this window. It's giving you some information about why there's no records in the window, which is because we just cleared them. Or if you've been getting that message, you could use this fixed check print. You can hopefully read that, hopefully read all of these instructions. Watch this video I'm doing. So let's close that. Let's go ahead and do all bills selected to pay, just in case somebody else has selected some to pay since we did this. And I feel real sure those are the very same ones that I have on the PDF that I already opened and kept over here. So I'm real sure about that. So I'm going to go ahead print or post checks. I can see here also that those are the ones I already printed, and so I'm okay with going ahead and running these. And what was that? 4, 5, 6, 8. Let's say we know that's the first check that we printed. Hopefully you can find that out. If you've sent them out already, you're going to have to just figure it out, I guess, so that you get the right check numbers in here. And maybe this happened yesterday, so you might change the date. Maybe it's not this default cash account, but make sure everything's the same as when you printed those checks yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and click the button to print checks. I don't really need to print them because I already printed them, but if I want to be sure about what they are, I could click to open the PDF and take a look. I can see there's 4 checks going on here, that I'm okay with all that. But I'm not printing them because I already did. So I'm just going to post, yes, the checks ran okay, so post them as paid. That's the button that you didn't remember to click before. And if I do a list of all checks printed today, that you may have printed some others, but I can see that my 4 that I did are in here. If you need to look, if you put a different date on those, you will probably need to go to the list of all checks posted maybe the last 7 days to see if they're in there correctly, or open the whole list of checks and search for them. Now hopefully you understand why this happens. It is very much to protect you from somehow forgetting to post the checks as paid and then running them again because they're still in unpaid payables accidentally, or they show up in somebody else's check run if you have more than one person printing checks. All kinds of things. So it's very much to protect you from having that happen, to stop you from doing anything else before you get those posted, or just decide to clear them and then print them again for whatever reason. I hope that makes sense, and thank you for watching.